Gail Zuckerman, and this is Growing Older with Gusto. Each episode, I interview people who are growing older in an inspiring way. Whether you're 30, 60, or 80 years of age, these interviews will help to conquer your fear of aging. Please subscribe to our channel and check out our website at www.growingolderwithgusto.com. Hello, fellow super agers, and welcome to this episode of Growing Older with Gusto. I am Gail Zuckerman, your host, that's bringing wisdom and inspiring guests to you every week. Today, we have a very special guest that's coming to us from my favorite city in the world, Sydney, Australia, and her name is Julie Sursok. Julie is an amazing woman who's definitely a great example of growing older with gusto. She's an author, an award-winning recording artist, and the queen of flexibility. And by that, I mean this woman has moved from one continent to the next and reinvented herself. She moved from South Africa to Australia. She lost everything. She regained everything. And now she's recently written a great book. I read it. It's hysterical. And she's being recognized for it. It is called I'm Now Called a Senior WTF. So she has lots of funny things to share with us. And since she was kind enough to get up before 5 a.m. on Tuesday in Sydney, we want to move right ahead with the conversation. So welcome to the show, Growing Older with Gusto. Here is Julie Sursok.
Hi, Gail. Wonderful to have to be on your show. Thank you so much. And it's a beautiful day in Sydney. It's still dark, but we don't have any rain, so that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'd like to let's just start out with your life story. I know you told me that you moved from South Africa to Australia. And how was that experience for you?
Well, born in South Africa and two children there. And we actually lived a very privileged life in South Africa. My husband and I, we ran our own businesses. I was contracted to EMI in the recording industry for many years. And life was great. We had a wonderful family, a great friendship network, financially secure. And then things changed. And one day we arrived home and our son called from the family room, Mom, come and help me turn on the television set. And we said, you know how to do that. And we walked into the family room to find just leads there, and we'd had a home invasion. Our whole house had been ransacked, things had been stolen, and it rattled us. And then I got an anonymous phone caller saying, oh, I love Julie. Hi, I loved the red dress that you were wearing today. And I thought, I haven't actually been anywhere significant in a red dress other than buying groceries. So red dress, who is this? And it was sort of an anonymous caller, and that rattled me. And then we had an incident at the bottom of our driveway where somebody was killed. And my husband and I looked at each other and we said, this is it. It's time for us to move on. And we need the security for our children. So we applied to move to Australia, and we were very lucky, and we got in. And off we went, him, myself, two children, 4 suitcases, and potential.
And I know that's not easy. It's not easy to move to Australia. They don't receive people easily, is what I mean.
No, it wasn't. Luckily, we had the skills and we were the right age, and we were able to get in. But it's like starting a new life. You wipe the slate clean, you leave your history behind, you leave your family behind, your finances are all shaky, and you really have to start again. And I was very spoilt. I didn't realize you had to separate washing. So my whole family wore olive green for 6 weeks. It was the olive green color because, you got to separate it all the different colors. I just ironed the front of my husband's shirt, and it was boiling. It was so hot, and you'd go out, perspiring, and it was not easy. You'd invite people around for tea in Australia, and tea in Australia we thought was tea and cake, the English tea and cake, but it's actually, lamb chops. It's dinner. It's all mixed up. Mm-hmm. And you'd ask friends around for dinner, and you'd have sort of a formal dinner, because that's what we were used to in South Africa, and nobody would ever invite you back. And so we thought, maybe they don't like us. And then you'd have a barbecue and throw on the sauce and take it out of the tub, the butter out of the tub. And the next minute you were at every barbecue. So it was just learning the whole way of Australia. And
so let me ask you this. How did you really discover what kind of you called makes your heart sing? For those of the viewers out there who are wondering, how do people do it? How do they grow older with gusto when faced with situations like yours?
Do you know, I've always been a very happy little bunny. I'm the half cup full sort of
Mhm.
person. And I loved, having a history where I'd been on stage, I played the guitar, played the piano. I actually just loved performing, I suppose, in a way. And I could visualize that made me happy. When I was up on stage, I really felt happy. And I could visualize myself standing in front of thousands of people like the Tony Robbins of geriatrics and say, things can change when you get older. This is not it. And I say, be careful for what you wish for, because now I'm going out and people are asking me to talk at all these places. And I get a bit nervous sometimes, but I'm loving it. And I'm just thinking, wow, at this age, you can go out there and you can do whatever you want. And I went back to what I knew that made me happy, but adapted it and was flexible to make it this side of life.
That's great. And what would you say to our viewers who are kind of at a standstill in their life about leading an inspirational life? What kind of wisdom can you talk about with
Do you
them?
know, I really feel that a lot of older people sometimes think when we were forced into retirement because the business that we had here, the sale of it fell through. And it fell through before we could order stock for the following year. So we were sort of forced into retirement. And it's now what? I'm still alive, and now what? And I just realized, this isn't it. When you get to this stage, it's really wonderful because it's the first step to being curious.
Hmm.
And it's the first time in your life that you can actually breathe, work out what you really want to do with the rest of your life without all this humdrum and chaos that goes around your life when you have children and family and you're running businesses and you're everyone else's support group. And I just felt for the first time I could actually sit down, breathe, and be curious. And for older people, I really believe that you step on that first step of the ladder, and you don't have to go to the top of the ladder. Some people, you fall off top of ladders at this age, but to be curious, some people say, oh, now you sink into bridge and golf and sewing and whatever, but it's actually not that. A lot of people want more than that at this age. They realize that they've got the time now, they have the space, and they want more, and
So
go and
any
search for it.
pivotal moments that kind of inspired you to do what you're doing right now?
The, Going right back to when I was young, I actually had a year where I was actually quite ill, and I didn't go to school for a year. And I spent the year reading, and I just loved it. I knew that these words were just making me feel alive. And now at this side, I realized maybe those were the skills that I learned then
Hmm.
that were now going to resurface now. And I think shutting the business down and having that space now gave me that impetus to move forward and not realize that that was it. You can move on and you can do what you really want to do.
Well, they always say good readers make good writers. So in your case, that's true. Um, any obstacles that you encountered in publishing your book due to the fact that you were growing older?
Not with the writing side. I love the writing side, and I've developed, because I'm on book 2 now. So I've sort of developed the writing skill. But there are huge challenges with technology. You're trying to, what actually happened is I researched everything with regards to writing a book. And I thought, do you go the publishing route? Do you actually learn how to do it yourself? I didn't want, I'd heard of so many people who'd produced books, sent it out to be uh, to a publisher, and the voice was changed. And I didn't want the voice of my generation to change, because I have experience in being an older person. So everybody else in my demographic would also have that and would hear my voice.
Hmm.
And if I could just get out there and just change people's lives, just one at a time, then at least I'd done my job. If it was one a day, that's awesome. But technical problems, definitely. um, joined a publishing school in the USA. And of course, it's on the East Coast. So a lot of middle of the night meetings, but I pitched up for every single one of them. And I wrote notes. I took each step one by one by one by one to make sure that I developed to the next stage. And a year and a half ago, I knew nothing about this. And look at this. Here I am talking to the
Look at
other
where
side
you
of the
are,
world,
right? Right.
and anybody can do that. If they found what they really love to do and they're passionate for that, you can't stop anybody, I believe. But technology, you need to get your kids involved. You need to ask them, honestly. I've made many mistakes. I've lost stuff. I've forgotten how to save stuff. What's a USB? But I know my stuff now. I've learned.
Well, you're with us. That's great. So that's one a good example. So let's talk about your book. I read it. So many funny chapters. What were some of your favorite chapters? I know what some of mine were. What were some of your?
Yes.
What would
But
you?
do you know, it just came. I would sit down and I'd think, what should I write about today? And something would actually just flick in my brain
You're
and
sort of
off
like
I'd
a
go.
female Jerry Seinfeld. The book.
Somebody said that actually. I got a review saying, you're just like Seinfeld. Isn't it? Yeah, it's that
It's
sort of,
true.
it's observation of life. And really, we say take the mickey out of it. But let's say senior travels.
Right.
You go as a senior, you get on a plane, and then you all mixed in with everybody else. And then you've got to go to the bathroom because that's just a condition that happens when you get older. And then you can't get over the person who's on the end because I love the window because I'm a bit of a frightened flyer. So I look out of the window, then I've got to jump over two people, but then you can't get your leg up over everybody else without waking everybody up. And that's a problem. Or you go to Japan, and Japan, it's the custom is to sit on the floor. Well, as an older person, you sit on the floor. How do you get up again? It's really not elegant, It's on all fours and then pushing up. And it's those things. And I'm sure I spoke to other people who've done that. And they said, that's exactly what happened to us. We tried to get up, but we couldn't get up off the floor. And I do my gym. I get on the bike. I'm actually quite fit, but wasn't easy and it wasn't elegant, especially in a tight skirt.
You also in your book talk about separate bedroom syndrome. Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh, honestly, if we'd stayed in the same bedroom, I don't know whether we'd be still married. Because my husband snores, and I think I do too, but I don't admit it because I can't hear myself. But it's just like this train through Mongolia, really going on. And then you've got to like time your bathroom visits too as you get older. And we were tag teaming. And I said, eventually, I think maybe you better go and sleep next door. And we weren't happy about it because it felt like it was friend zone, we were to be married, but nobody talks about it, and then you start talking to your friends and you hear, oh yes, so they've moved to the bedroom there and that one's moved to the bedroom there. So it's not really unique. In
Right.
fact, even my
I've heard
daughter,
about it. Mm-hmm.
yes, even my daughter says, sometimes I chuck my husband out and say, go and sleep in the other room. I need some sleep. And honestly, thank goodness, I think I'm alive because I've had some sleep. But he's been trailing on the online shopping sites, and he's bought some of these gloves because he's got arthritic hands.
Oh, that's good to know.
So he's got you go online and you get these gloves and they get the blood flow going to your hands. And I sort of walk in there, morning, darling, thank I've got glasses, thank goodness. And he's all tagged up like Michael Jackson. Because he's got all these gloves on and bits and pieces and snoring gadgets, and that's the fun of getting older.
Right. How about those medical checks you write about?
Oh, medical checks. Well, do I think sometimes we're scared to go to the medical checks because we're a bit nervous that we're going to find something that we don't want to find. So especially men, they're naughty. They don't go as often. I shouldn't be sexist here, but anyway, here we are.
But it's true. Right.
They don't go because they're fearful that they will, lose their health and then their power in a way, I suppose. But I find that for me, oh gosh, I put it in the diary and then I take it out of the diary and then I put it in the diary and then I take it out of the diary again. Then you're going to make the phone call. Then you've got to worry about it all the time before you go. But I really say go and have those checks, because all the worry is actually not necessary, because you always go there and everything's generally always fine. And, it's important, skin checks and all that, as also as we get older, you can get all bits and bobs arriving in the wrong places, and you need to check them out. So, yeah, but you can have some fun doing that.
And what about downsizing? You write about downsizing. Tell us about that.
Downsizing. Well, we're actually still in our family home, and our lives are spent cleaning. If it's not outside doing leaves, it's inside cleaning up. And it just takes so much time. And you watch people who do downsize and they go into much smaller properties and they actually can start really living again. And I say, don't leave it too late, because then you're so attached. One of you can get ill. Heaven forbid
Correct.
it doesn't happen, but one can, and then it's such a process for the other person. Or what happens if one of a partner dies? Then the other partner deals with all of this. You need to get into, if you're going to go to a retirement village, it's better to go when they're both of you and you form a community. And community is so important when you get older. It's
Correct.
like, it's just, research says that millennials say what the most important thing is to them is to be rich and famous. But the very clear message that comes from getting older is companionship and relationships and connection and communication. And it does, you talk about making your heart sing, but you go out and have a lovely dinner with someone or sit and chat to somebody, and it's a
And,
good evening.
and that's
Whoa,
called, they call that now ROR,
ROR.
return on relationships,
Oh, what a
instead
wonderful
of
phrase.
ROI. Right.
Yes, return on investment. Yeah, yeah. Oh, isn't that's a lovely phrase. It is, and it's just great because it's simple, but it's helpful
Yep.
as you get older. Yeah.
And you also speak about in your book technical faux pas. Do you want to tell
Oh,
our viewers about that?
you probably read my one chapter. We won't go into total detail, but I did ask my husband to take some pictures of some bits and bobs that I thought, I don't know if those are something that need to be checked out. And they were probably personal bits and bobs. And I took a picture of it, but I forgot that it was on my phone. And I was sending a photo out. I think I was posting it on Instagram actually. And I thought I was quite a whiz now because I've got this Instagram following and it's all pretty exciting. And I was putting up a photo to say this is what's happening in our growing older with gusto life, and it was next to a photo of this picture, a very personal picture that my husband had taken of me, and both the pictures posted up, and I didn't know how to unpost it. I didn't know how to take it
Delete.
off.
That's
So
embarrassing.
it was a desperate call to the children. How do you take that bit off? But you're not fearful when you're older.
You just
You
have to
go with
laugh,
it.
right?
You just go with it, and it's really refreshing. And I say to everybody out there who's sort of at this age, because I'm close to 70, just try things and don't be fearful. Nobody's judging you. In fact, they're applauding you, and it's worth giving it a go you know
Right. Right. Well, it's been wonderful speaking with you, and your book is really funny. It's a great read for all of our viewers out there. I have read it. It's a great book. And I want to ask you, how can our viewers reach you? I know you have a website, and what if they want to purchase your book? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, well, thank you for that. It's on Amazon, and it's on Amazon everywhere. It got the bestseller banner, so I was excited about that. It's in online at Walmart, Barnes and Noble. We've got Booktopia and Dimox, and I have a website, www.imnowcalledasenior.com, which is tongue in cheek. And so but that's basically more, the website is for Australians because it's easier just for them to order and we can
Sure.
post it off. And then I do have a Instagram, I'm Now Called a Senior, and a Facebook support group for I'm Now Called a Senior. So I'm developing.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you definitely live up to the motto of growing older with gusto. So I thank you so much for getting up so early to join us today. It's been wonderful meeting you and speaking with you.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you. I've had fun.
It was
Fun.
fun. You go out,
Yeah.
have a great day.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have my coffee now.
Please subscribe to our channel and check out our website at www.growingolderwithgusto.com.